All right, guys, I'm back. I'm going to do another one of these. She asked, we answered when she said, "Tell him, Johnny," and see how many people believe you. I've done a couple of these on the channel. XQC, Asmongold, Sydney Watson's to name. I think that's who I've done so far. So I think it's pretty interesting, and I'm trying to think of. Listen, there's so many people covering this case, and again, people probably doing a lot better job than I could ever do. But I've been following this case for a couple years though, so I didn't just start watching it since it came into Virginia. But because I do watch so many different content creators on YouTube and Twitch for that matter, because with XQC and Asmongold, they're Twitch guys. They also have YouTube, but you know what I mean. So I decided I saw Repzion pop up in a feed that he was commenting on this trial, and because I have done Repzion does these like files like um if you want to check his channel out, there it is. He does all these like deep dives on certain YouTubers and stuff. It's really good stuff. But I knew that he'd been in a relationship with a young woman that exhibited some of the same behaviors that we're seeing in this case with her. And so I was like, oh yeah, gotta see what Repzion thinks about this. Okay. So like I always do, I'm surprised. It's probably because I'm on a discount. I'm gonna subscribe and like this because I think that's what you should. If you're gonna use somebody's material to comment on, you should at least like and subscribe to the damn channel. Okay, so I'm gonna let some of this play. He actually did two, but when I say this is reached left, right, doesn't matter, middle ground, emo folks to gamers to middle, 40 something year olds, with the 10-pound Shih Tzu sitting next to them, to men, women, whatever. But it's really reaching men a lot, which is encouraging to show them that, this is such a high profile case with this man, A-list celebrity, is getting the word out that yes, men can be victims too. And watching his, I fixed to upload released a video right before this that shows Amber Heard's expert witness, the one that tested her for PTSD and stuff. I mean, it was obvious. Everybody could see she was constantly referring to the victims as she and her. And she kept trying to use the excuse of, oh, I was referring to Amber. But then, I don't know, you should go watch that video. It's really well done. There's actually another channel that put something good together, and I reacted on it. I think it's worth a watch. But all right, so I'm going to shut my mouth. I hate freaking people when people go on in the beginnings, and here I am doing it. So I'm going to let you watch. This guy's coming from a perspective of Repzion, who has been a victim of, I would say, not probably to this degree, but feeling kind of trapped, making you feel kind of trapped in a really bad situation. Here we go.
That I had left out the steak all over the house, or pieces of it. It was cut up, and he had ripped my nightgown into pieces, into shreds, and wrapped the meat up, like wrapped the steak pieces up with my nightgown. It was this really beautiful burgundy silk nightgown that had this black lace trim. I'm
gonna add my own 2 cents in here every once in a while. Listen to how detailed she is. She knows the color of the nightgown, that had lace, what he had done, where she found these trinkets apparently of wrapped meat. But recognize when she gets in the middle of talking about the actual incidents that she's accusing him of, of things that are happening to her. But just think about how hazy she gets on those details. Well, I can't remember what started it, or I can't remember how I got out of that situation. I can't really remember if I did anything or threw anything. But then she's like, but I saw 3 sparkles of glitter on the cheek of the dog as it exited the bathroom. I mean, like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, wait a minute. Okay, I just think that's kind of telling.
We got it from Dr. Kipper for a wedding gift. And it was wrapped. I found it. I continued to find it throughout the rest of the time that I was in the house in Australia. There's pieces of it in the microwave, pieces of it in the produce drawer, in the closet drawer. I mean, just raw meat wrapped up in my nightgown, as well as the smeared food on the walls. It was bizarre. I've always been really independent, you know, and I've never imagined not working.
According to Amber Heard, she has always been independent and would never not have jobs. But the actress once asked Johnny Depp to give her all their properties and cars, and expected him to pay for their maintenance as well. In the process of
Yeah, this is a good point that this is bringing up, saying that she's always been independent. But then if you know what she demanded after a 15-month marriage, Miss Independent wanted, like, half the properties and the cars and the money, and all that's been exposed about her actually not giving that money away, and wanting him to settle up all their debts. Well, she wasn't even liable for any of the taxes on it. It's crazy.
divorcee, Amber ended up getting over $2 million from Johnny. In today's trial, she claims that she wanted a prenup, even though there have been testimonies.
I don't understand why they got that. She got over $2 million from Johnny. I mean, this sounds like something like E or something, but this is a put together piece that Repsion played, and I'm like, are they not paying attention to anything? It wasn't 2 million. It was, they paid 200,000. His manager had to cut a check of 100,000 each to the ACLU and the children's hospital. And so they, in the end, wound up paying her the rest, 6.8 million, right? And then they had to pay 500,000 to the attorneys. And then we found out that he had to settle up on what was almost like $13.5 million of debt that they'd accrued in a 15-month marriage. He had to pay all that shit. So I don't know where they get that 2 million from.
And she got mad at Johnny when he asked for one.
All I could do was try to calm her down and say that I was not out to screw her over.
The lawyers asked if there were any conversations in 2016 about a prenup.
I wanted to eliminate any doubt in his mind and in other people's minds, so I brought it up to him and brought it up to my therapist.
Amber says she began to think about a prenuptial agreement and brought it up to him and even to her therapist because she wanted to eliminate any doubt about her, since he...
Which I'm going to tell you again, I've been following this case for over 2 years. That's a crock of horse shit. His fit was brought up. His sister, Johnny Depp's sister, who's also is a personal manager. I'm sure she's trying to protect her brother, but yeah,
He makes significantly more money.
I know that he earned significantly more than me. He's a successful actor.
She claimed that Johnny threatened to tear it up if ever she presented one, and the only way out of this is death.
Johnny said he would tear it up.
Yeah.
He said, if you ever brought one up to me, or if I ever saw one, got my hands on it, I'd tear it up. Only way out of this is death. Only way out of this is death.
Now,
so according to her, Johnny Depp apparently...
Think about that. I'm trying to think about, I'm sorry I keep doing this, but it triggers other things of the trial. You see what she's trying to insinuate there? Because that it's already been brought up about the knife she gifted him, right? That says "until death." Remember, it was inscribed on the side of that knife. So that's where she tried to slide in. Johnny said "till death." Johnny said "till death." That's what Johnny's phrase. See what they're trying to do there?
He refused to sign a prenup.
And I told him over and over again, are you sure? Are you sure? Maybe we should do this. And one time he said to me, he's like, "Kid, are you already thinking of how you're getting out of this? Are you already planning to get out of this, kid? You already planning on leaving?"
If this is true, it is questionable why Amber took $6.8 million in the 13, $5 million in community liabilities, and more when their marriage ended. Johnny Depp also testified in the previous days, saying that Amber threw a vodka bottle at him which shattered and severed his finger just because he was trying to get her to agree to sign a postnuptial agreement. Amber Heard's current testimony is a lot different from what happened years before, and when they divorced, she milked Johnny for more money than he can give since he had no jobs at that time because of her as well.
Please ignore the messy background. I am in the stages of moving. But today I wanted to come back and talk about the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial that I talked about last week, because there has been a lot of developments. If you thought that Amber Heard was a pathological liar, well, you would be absolutely right, because with what's been ongoing since she started testifying in the last 3 days, the lies and the things that she is spewing to the world is getting more and more extreme and more unbelievable. Not just that, but with this cross-examination that's upcoming, there's been so many little details that constantly are changing with her, and the accusations and the claims just are becoming more and more absurd, to the point of where I'm practically speechless. My girlfriend actually made a fantastic comparison and said that the person that I used to date is pretty much Amber Heard except without money. And that couldn't be further from the truth. What we're dealing with here is Amber is getting on stand and testifying against Johnny. And one of the first things that you'll notice is that Amber is constantly referring to Johnny as Johnny, whereas Johnny Depp referred to her as Miss Heard, where she's referencing by his first name. Now, that may be a small little minor thing, but also the fact that she's constantly giving him direct eye contact, constantly in the courtroom, while Johnny is constantly looking down, refusing to give her any eye contact. These small little things is directly related.
And by the way, I've seen this multiple times, and I mean multiple times, where she has done that. She has looked directly at him to try and see if he would look at her, and he will not look at her. Right here's an example to show you where she's she's looking directly at him, and that's what he's doing. He's looking down at his notepad. So yeah.
Related to pure narcissism and pathological abusers as a way to intimidate, but it's just not that. Amber has been mirroring so much, not only her hair, her clothes, with the people who have been testifying against her, and it's just unreal to watch this go down. But what's even more crazy is just this last few days, Amber Heard's lawyer team tried to get her the case striked, motioned out, dismissed, and it was absolutely denied by the judge.
I'm not going to take up any more of the court's time addressing portions of Mr. Chu's argument that don't go to our motion, unless Your Honor has any specific questions, but I want to be respectful.
All right, thank you, sir. All right. For this motion, I've taken the arguments of counsel, and last night I reviewed all of the evidence that has been submitted in this matter. So as to the second and third alleged defamatory statements.
What I found curious too is that if you'll notice what she says, she reviewed it the last night. So that means they had told her that you know, the day before, basically yesterday, of when they did this, what they were planning on doing. That's why she reviewed it. She reviewed it to see if she was going to allow their motion for dismissal.
At the motion to strike at this juncture, I view the evidence in the light most favorable to the plaintiff and reasonable inferences from the evidence to the plaintiff. And if there is a scintilla of evidence that a reasonable juror could weigh, then the matter survives a motion to strike. In this matter, there is evidence in the case that a jury could weigh that the statements were made by the defendant, that the statements were about the plaintiff, that the statement was published, that the statement is false, and the defendant made the statement knowing it to be false, or the defendant made it so recklessly as to amount to a willful disregard for the truth. The weight of that evidence is up to the fact finder. So the motion to strike is denied as to statement 2 and 3.
Why would you try to get this completely dismissed if maybe you weren't lying and making up false things about somebody? But it gets even better. Amber Heard even goes on to describe Johnny Depp's children as weirdos.
And remember, he might not know this, but she tried to get this case dismissed a couple of times. She tried to say that the Virginia wasn't the right jurisdiction. I mean, trust me, they tried to make this case disappear.
Did you have an argument with Mr. Depp relating to Lily Rose in November 2013?
Yes.
Can you please describe that?
Well, I was, you know, these kids were, I found them to be these beautiful, wildly intelligent little weirdos in the best way. You know, they were, I was falling in love with them. And, you know, they.
And now I can't help but notice, I watched the behavioral guy, you know, because again, I've been just researching this stuff from a lot of different corners. Okay. But a lot of people brought up that she rubs her nose or wipes her nose when she's full of shit. And if you notice right there, what you just talked about is falling in love with his kids. She immediately touched her nose, rubbed her nose. See?
And, you know, they were in my life at that time, a short amount of time, but I loved it. And I started to feel very protective and, you know, Johnny's sobriety meant that he was there.
She never had any relationship with his children, and her children and Johnny's children actually hated her, which speaks levels and volumes to the relationship between the children of her and Johnny, and how she was unable to build any real relationship with anyone because of her pathological manipulation and constant abuse. I do want to do a special shout out to our sponsor of the channel today, Vance Global.
Yeah, we're gonna skip his I'll show you what he does just to give him, to give him some props.
They're TH gummies. Anyways, folks, that's all I really have to say on the trial as of it's still ongoing right now. I mean, just yesterday, she was describing how Johnny Depp took her nightgown and like wrapped steak in it and was smearing mashed potatoes on the wall, which is so weird coming from her because not only is there no evidence of these, but every singular claim that Amber is making is so extreme, and yet there's not a shred of documented evidence. There's a whole segment just yesterday where she's describing a bottle being shoved up her you-know-what area, and she's being penetrated and harmed by a glass bottle in which she says there was a bunch of blood and there was bleeding, and that she was like, her face was beaten against a wall, and that she was choked and all this stuff, right? Like real DV stuff. These claims, and then almost every incident, and actually every incident where she claims these really horrendous accusations of DV, right? The next day, she's on in photography, pictures, right? She's on video. She's tons of documented photos of the same day and the next day, and there's no bruises, there's no cuts, there's no swelling, there's no anything. And what just blew my mind about the whole bottle incident, right, is that she says that she was like constantly bleeding, in the cat area, and yet never sought medical attention. There's no medical documentation of any report, period. And like realistically, that is a very sensitive part of the female anatomy, the body. And you would think that if you're sliced up and cut and you're bleeding profusely of your body in that specific region, even as a guy, that's a severe area. You can die from that if you actually have cuts and like damage done. We have reached this point of there's almost nothing that she can say at this point that will make me believe anything that she's saying. And she's crying on the stand without being able to bring any tears. This emotional ploy trying to appear to the jury as this battered housewife when the reality is Johnny has been the one who's been beaten, abused, and terrorized by this woman, disregarding not only his emotions, telling people, who's gonna believe you, Johnny? Who's gonna believe you? We've really reached this point of no return with this trial, and I pray to the Elden Ring RNG gods that Johnny Depp wins this case against Amber Heard. I mean, from a legal standpoint, I think it looks pretty solid that he is going to come out on top of this. But at the same time, who really knows the legal system, right? Is this justice really going to be served despite how many holes have been pointed out in Amber's testimony on things that don't make sense? I mean, she was claiming...
And just to add here too, you have to remember how much she was secretly recording their conversations, how many pictures she was taking. Right? Remember the TMZ video of him, assaulting a couple cabinets. Remember the pictures of him holding the ice cream and it, while he falling asleep and it's spilling everywhere. And to think of how much she was trying to catch him do something. And think about the fact that you're sitting there in an argument with your significant other, and it's become violent. And you're secretly recording them, and she can't get him to say anything that's incriminating. He doesn't know he's being recorded. She does. So she knows to watch what she's saying. He has no clue. So again, as much as this woman tried to document what was going on to try and gather some kind of, I don't know, his friend, that comedian, what is it, Doug Stanhope, something like that, whatever, Joe Rogan's friend as well. there's been allegations that, she was trying to frame it, which, I mean, look at the evidence. But out of all that, she has produces nothing. The only thing that's been produced is where she's admitted putting her hands on him, throwing things at him.
The lawyers were claiming that Johnny Depp and this other guy on an airplane were huffing oxygen masks on the plane. Like the level of reaching, and that Johnny Depp whipped out his genitals and was walking around with his genitals out, and people confirmed this didn't happen. If you have so many people all correlating and corroborating these details, these claims that aren't true on national television, and there's no documented evidence of anything. Meanwhile, we have audio, we have a medical record of his finger being split and thrown off, her being degrading towards Johnny, her being degrading towards his children, her attacking his masculinity, telling him how horrible of a father he is to his own children. Just every type of possible type of abuse that there is, Amber has exhibited, and there's documented evidence of it. Meanwhile, there's nothing that Amber has been able to present other than words of mouth and pictures that don't do any justice. Like she claimed that Johnny was blacked out drunk when he was just like sitting on a chair like asleep, and it's like you're presenting evidence that has every piece of evidence that she presents actually seems to discredit her further. Seems really familiar with somebody else in my past personally who did the exact same thing. Hey, look at this person doing this, and then it's just like, what are we looking at here? It's somebody asleep, taking a nap on a chair. How is this indicative of them being abusive and like strangling you and bashing your head and lip and you know what I'm saying? It's just, it's insane. And Amber's still testifying as of right now. So where this is going to go from here, how far this is going to keep escalating with levels of insanity and unbelievability that I can't fathom at this point. However, if you guys have gotten this far in the video, link down below is my side channel. And right now, currently, I'm actually up.
I'm going to show you real quick a little bit more of what he did. Okay, and this one's actually one that he did before the one that we just watched. This was a little earlier.
Caused damage to Mr. Depp's hand while you were there on March 8th, correct?
Dr. Kipper told me he sustained an injury on one of his fingers.
Rejection, hearsay.
Wait, you asked the question.
Oh.
Next question.
Okay, you said he sustained.
The accusations that she brought. I'm sorry, I was.
Ooh, look how loud that gets. That's still one of the funnier parts of that trial, where he asks the question and objects to his own the answer to the question he asked. I don't know. It's everywhere.
Talking, is that all right?
You'd answer my question. We'll take a look at the next one. Thank you.
As long as you're happy, sir.
Relevance, Your Honor?
He said in the
Objection, hearsay.
We're going to fast forward because we're
Sustained.
Your Honor, hearsay.
court say.
Did I read that right?
This is a pathetic attempt.
There's nothing about this text that's trying to protect her.
Protect her?
And
from what?
On social media. Hey, hi, hello. I'm not sure how many people have been living under a rock on social media, but for the most part, you've probably seen something on the ongoing trial of Amber Heard versus Johnny Depp. Now, for those of you who don't know, I made a video about this almost about 8-9 months ago called the Amber Heard Files. However, this was before the actual full-on hearing, the trial that's ongoing as of the last week. It is something that I can't really keep my eyes away from because it's not only super relatable, but I just wanted to talk about the ongoing trial, my thoughts, opinions, and show you some footage of the lies of Amber Heard from the trial itself. There's just something very entertaining about watching attorneys fail miserably at their job, attempting to scrutinize, criticize, and point out, issues in one statement because they are covering for a pathological liar. One of the funniest moments to me was actually when Amber's attorney was trying to showcase Amber's bruises on her face, right on her cheek, alleging that Johnny Depp is a domestic physical abuser. Not only is this simply laughable, one of the first lies that Amber hysterically gets outed for in court is her attorneys tried to present evidence that Johnny Depp allegedly put a bruise on her cheek. And during this whole process of having this bruise on her cheek, she had in her purse a particular makeup brand known as Milani Cosmetics that she was using to conceal up this bruise. Oh, so dramatic. All the while not realizing that her attorneys are so stupid and Amber's so dumb that the product that she claims that she was using to cover up her alleged bruise wasn't even made until 2018, when the allegations that she made towards Johnny were back in 2013.
It's 2017 when they were was actually made. But I did go back and listen to Cat Lady. Everybody, just by the way, Cat Lady, say in the opening, she said, and this is what Amber constantly kept in her purse. And I mean, she didn't say like this product, something similar. She said this is what she kept in her purse. I don't know how they're going to get out of that, because it wasn't even released until, a year later.
2014. The product didn't even exist yet, and yet she's claiming this is what she used to cover up this horrendous abuse that she endured. Furthermore, and I covered this in my original Amber Heard video, there was a video that Amber Heard recorded. You can see her set up the camera that TMZ actually cut part of it out. You see her set up this camera when Johnny Depp, it was either the day of or the day after his mother became very, very ill. And Amber, smiling at the camera, set this up, put it there, hid it behind like this glass pot or whatever, and watched Johnny Depp slam a couple cabinets in his kitchen. This was presented in court in the full context, not edited, that she was claiming like this was designated towards her. It wasn't. Like, dude, a man's in grief. People in grief get angry. Part of the grieving process of losing a loved one is anger. Slamming some cabinets, how is that proof of that he's physically hurt this individual? It isn't. I interrupt this segment. If you have histrionic personality disorder, I don't care if you have schizophrenia. If you are physically violent, if you cannot control your emotions and you are physically violent towards your partner in any capacity, that is on you, and you cannot use them being untreated or not taking their illness seriously as an excuse for why something was done. We can understand why somebody with BPD may react in an extreme way and end up hurting someone horribly or physically. We can understand that, the cause of why that's happening, but to use that as a form of negating the actual abuse that happened as, oh, this is why they did it, we shouldn't be so hard on them. Fuck you. Fuck anyone who uses mental health as an excuse for why they do shitty things.
She had a very sophisticated way of minimizing any personal problems. I also learned that she tends to well, there were a number of characteristics that were consistent with the eventual diagnoses, but some of the primary characteristics, and I'm going to try to condense 25 pages here, were essentially externalization of blame, tending to have a lot of inner hostility that is attempted to be controlled, a tendency to be very self-righteous, but to also deny that self-righteousness and to judge others critically against these sort of high standards for moral value, but also to deny doing that. Essentially to claim that one is very non-judgmental and accepting, and yet very full of rage, really. And these aren't facts, but her scores essentially correlated, so they were consistent with other people who obtain these scores who have been shown through many, many, many studies to have these very specific traits. So external, be very judgmental of others. And
oftentimes, people with borderline personality disorder will use physical abuse and then use self-hurting to threaten to use the legal systems to keep their partner from leaving. On Amber Heard and her diagnosis. Wow, that is all too familiar. I have to give credit where credit is due. My audience, if you've watched my video, A Message to My Ex-Girlfriend, or My Ex-Girlfriend Took My Girlfriend to Court, if you've watched either two of these videos, you would know that YouTube, the community, people who watch me, have coined my ex-girlfriend as a Amber Heard Jr. Because the level of mind fuckery that you deal with this girl, and Amber Heard is identical. They have the same sort of illness. They refuse to get proper treatment for it. Like, I'm not sure how aware of you guys are of the situation, but Amber Heard has hurt a lot of people. Not just her ex-girlfriend, but also her assistant, who she fired in pure rage because her assistant asked for a higher wage. I guess.
Okay, and you kind of get the gist of where I'm going to show you why. Okay, and this is why I wanted to look at what Repzion had to say about this case, because I'll just show you a little bit about kind of what he was dealing with, one of his relationships.
While you're on the lease, and we can work on our relationship and go to couples therapy. That's what the plan was. Fast forward to the month of March, when the lease was about to end in April. I had to contact the police because my ex physically assaulted me her 4th time. I told my ex the first time in 2020 that I can't keep doing this. This is really affecting me. And she even admits and apologizes in Discord messages on how she was physically abusive towards me in a conversation/argument that we were having. She admits full on to physically assaulting me. And this happened more than once, more than twice, and more than 3 times. 4th was my breaking point. But the 3rd time she was physical with me, I told her specifically if she ever lays her hands on me again, I will leave. And in March of 2021, she did exactly that when I asked her why she had a cock photo of another person in her phone, in which she then proceeded to lunge at me, choke me. I pushed her off of me. Her screaming belligerently, runs into the kitchen, grabs a kitchen knife, and slices her upper arms, causing blood. She then takes her hand, goes like this, and starts wiping it over my room, saying, "You caused this, you caused this, you caused this, you caused this," rubbing on my desk. "You caused this, you caused this. How dare you accuse me of wanting my R's?" Yeah. I didn't say that. I asked her and confronted her as to why she had a photo of somebody's private parts in her phone, and it was instantly met with violence. Just like the previous incidences were met with violence. It got to the point where this is a real conversation. She apologized for choking me, and I explained to her, I feel like I can't talk to you. If I try to confront you or talk to you about any sensitive or delicate matter, it is met with instant violence. I can't do it anymore. And I broke. I said, I'm leaving. I am leaving.
And this had gotten so bad. Remember how it was Amber Heard that would set up the audios and all that. And then towards the end, it was Johnny Depp's actually started recording as well. Like it got so bad to where she denied what would happen in these arguments and stuff. He started recording too, because he was like, no, that's not what you said. But she was aware when he was recording. He wasn't always aware when she was. So I say that because on his desk, he's got I guess like a webcam or whatever, the camera that's rolling, because he's scared of something like this is going to happen again. And then she's going to accuse him, like what we've been seeing in her Depp trial. But so this is him after it's happened. I think he's trying to get his stuff together, like he's going to leave. It's pretty sad, really. Just goes to show you that this stuff's a lot more common than people want to admit to. Now you can hear off in the distance.
What are you doing? I am moving out in April. Why? Why? I've already told you this. Seriously? Yes, I am moving out. I am dead serious. 100% serious. Don't fucking get mad. Don't even touch me. Nothing. Don't. But let's back up. So I know there's questions, and people are going to say like, well, why didn't you call the police when this happened? I went into shock. I've never experienced shock before in my life. I've dealt with a lot of crazy shit. Even when my dad chopped off his own finger, like, I've dealt with some crazy situations, IRL, and I've never been in a situation where incident, just for transparency's sake, and something that I do want to highlight is at the very end of the police report how the officer even mentions how it seemed as if Daniel didn't want his ex to get in trouble. And now what you're about to see is my ex lying to the police about what happened directly. This is the police body cam footage of that incident.
Howdy.
Hello. She's here.
I'm also at Camp Police, just so you know we're being in a video recorded by body camera.
That's fine.
Daniel, alright?
Yes.
Okay, what's going on?
She's here right now.
Okay.
But yesterday, there was an incident where she attacked me and gripped me by my throat.
Okay.
And she said that if I break up and if I leave, that she would harm herself. And it really put me on edge, and I have it on video recording. Specifically, so I set up a camera in my room, and I just don't really know how to handle that situation when somebody's threatening to hurt themselves. A situation like that.
Okay. Are you injured at all by what happened?
Not now, not really, but she did grab my neck, and there was another incident in summer of this 2020 that really, I actually took photos and there's markings on my neck from it. Did you report that? No, I didn't, and I should have.
Is there a reason why you didn't call last night?
When I initially pushed her off back in August, she said that if I called the police, that she would accuse me of hitting her. And that's why I didn't say anything.
Okay.
Because I've never been in a situation.
So, I understand, if I'm right, that you said she grabbed you by the neck because you were threatening to break up with her? Is that what's going on, or what?
Well, partially. I don't really understand. She has BPD. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's...
Okay.
I don't know.
Bipolar, you mean?
BPD is borderline person.
Oh, borderline person, okay. Okay.
I just don't really know how to handle a situation where somebody is threatening to harm themselves. So.
Okay. And then, what are you hoping to be the outcome?
I don't know. That's why I called you the non-emergency hotline.
Okay. Was she injured at all?
There were slits on her wrist.
From what?
She took a knife and sliced herself up.
Okay.
I need to mention something right here is that I misspoke. So when I was describing what was ongoing, I said wrists. What I meant to say was upper arms, and that small little description.
She basically goes out there and acts like nothing happens. He said it was up on her arm. They asked to see her wrist. They didn't see any.
Not suicidal at all, right?
On since I was 16.
I don't have a place yet, but I will find something.
You're about $30,000 in debt?
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
I thought that said that you don't
I don't want to do that, but I have to. I don't say for myself.
For your own self?
Yes.
Why? You said you wanted sex, my sexual assaulter did! Yes, you did!
Please stop.
What are you doing to me?
I'm not doing anything.
You know what you are?
I'm fucking gonna be hitting you.
Yes, you are.
How?
You literally fucking trigger people
Maya.
more than they ever could, and then you
And
pick
I
the blame.
apologize.
Damn it! Shut up!
No. I'm not shutting up.
Dan!
Stop.
You fucking did that!
No, I didn't.
Yes, you
I explained to you what I was trying to say to you.
You didn't say it very much. You accused me of one of my sexual assaulters did!
That's disgusting.
You really fucking
Stop.
Why? What are you gonna do?
Jeez. This is why I wanted to see what he had to say about this trial. This happens more than men feel like they can admit. Where they feel trapped, they've got this, they're dealing with this shit, screaming at them and yelling at them. And women know women like this. And that's why you see so many women like, no, we ain't believing her ass, Amber Heard's ass.
You're gonna call the fucking police? I'm already in a mental breakdown. I don't care. You're gonna fucking leave. I'm literally going to shoot myself in the fucking head. I don't care. I can't.
Now he's threatening. He said he's going to leave, and now she's threatening to end her own life. Yeah, emotional blackmail.
I'm telling you how much I don't give a shit. Leave. Because I'm going to kill myself. Not because of you. done. I don't hate you.
I don't give a shit. You hate me. You want to fucking terminate the fucking I hate you. I want you out of here. That's enough of that. If you want to go see that, it's on his channel, Message to My Ex-Girlfriend. Re-upload. Had to re-upload it 3 times. But yeah, that's Repsion reacting to this stuff, and you see a little snippet of what he's gone through. You can find these stories on YouTube. There are some men that have spoken out about their situations, things that they've tried to live through. And there's another whole video on here whenever she tries to like take them to go to court. His new girlfriend, her business gets broke into, and only her section. I think she's a tattoo artist, and only her office is disheveled, and it's I don't know I don't know the word I'm looking for, but oh my god, what's the word? Damage, I don't know. What I'm trying to say. I'm sorry, it's been a long day, but yeah, so there's some of that. If you want to watch the rest of it, there it is on his channel. And I'll probably keep doing a few more of these because I think it's interesting to see. Again, this case has drawn attention from every corner of the internet. People have put aside how they feel about politics, religion, whatever, whatever. Everybody's kind of put that on the back burner and be like, yeah, this ain't okay. All right, guys, thanks. Now, let me know, by the way, if you see anybody else's commentary or whatever, how they're reacting to this you'd like to see. I'll be glad to put something together. Thanks. See you next time.